All right, I want to go ahead and get started because we have a tight schedule to make sure the panelists all have time to say what they want to say. Thank you everyone for coming. My name is David Mellor. I'm from the Center for Open Science in Virginia. Speaking today, we have Helen Atkins from PLOS, Eric Ike, formerly at the Journal of Psychological Science, and Andy Collins from eLife. And as I said, I'm from the Center for Open Science in Virginia. We're a nonprofit tech company whose mission is to increase the reproducibility of scientific research. And we do that through three different means. We study the extent of the problem with reproducibility projects in psychology and an ongoing project in cancer biology. We have a community team who advocates for policy changes with publishers, societies, and funders to reward transparent research practices at all steps of the research workflow. And we, our biggest contingent at the Center for Open Science is infrastructure. So every policy that we advocate for, we build a tool to make sure that that can be applied and implemented. So the Open Science Framework is a free and open source workflow management tool that provides persistent identifiers of the entire research workflow so that can be citable, shareable, and improve collaboration. Before I bring up our first panelist, let me just quickly give a very superficial introduction to a couple of our main initiatives, and then we'll go into more detail about how journals are implementing different types of practices and initiatives. One of our major policies is the Transparency and Openness Promotion Guidelines. These are a set of 8 standards that were created by journal editors and funding agencies in order to encourage and incentivize sharing and citation of all the parts of the research workflow. So they cover content from data citation to transparency of and sharing of data, research materials, research and transparent analytical methods, and they go into content of pre-registration of studies, of analysis plans, and of encouraging replication and registered reports. That pre-registration is putting key details before results are known to separate out what was a priori hypothesized from what new exciting trends might come through data exploration at the end of it, which are often easy to conflate the two statistical analyses. So they can be adopted at different levels by different standards. The 3 tiers roughly correspond to disclosure, requirement, or verification. So for data transparency, what that means is that if a journal were to adopt a level 1 disclosure requirement for data transparency, they're not requiring authors to make data sets publicly available, but they do require the author to state whether or not data are available, and if so, where. A level 2 is a requirement, so you must share your data with a persistent identifier with some exceptions for ethical considerations. And then level 3 would be a verification step. You must share the data and it must be checked by a third party before publication to assure that it's there. And these are the standards that the journal Science is adopting. They, very coincidentally, just yesterday, they published an editorial on how they're going to be implementing these guidelines at these different levels. And I've got copies of that in the back. I rushed out to print those out last night when I saw that was published. Badges are visual icons to reward and surface best practices in open science. So if materials are deposited in a persistent repository, that can earn a badge. Open data, likewise, and pre-registration. If the work being reported is pre-registered, that can be visually indicated through a badge. And they seem silly, but Eric will show some evidence of how effective they are at actually encouraging these behaviors. And a final initiative is registered reports. This moves peer review earlier into the stage where before results are known. So the peer review questions focus on, the expert peer review process focuses on the research questions and the proposed methods to address and then analyze those results. Articles that pass that stage 1 peer review process can be guaranteed publication regardless of outcome, as long as the peer reviewers and editors agree that the researchers conducted the study in accordance to the registered plan. And with that, I'm going to pass it off to Helen.